Welcome back. You're listening to WSB Stony Brook. If you missed it, I had an interview with a band time evaluator on their latest record called How Fleeting, How Fragile. If you didn't check that record out, make sure you do. If you like ambient with hardcore, with a little bit of jazz elements and a little bit of everything, if you like bands like Tesseract, Periphery, Contortionist, stuff like that, make sure to go support those guys. They should be having a new record sometime next year. I'm going to be posting an interview that I had before, hopefully online soon, maybe next week because of finals and stuff, so it might take a little bit. But right now, I'm joined by one of the members of Ooh Blue. How about you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the band for people that may not have heard you before. It's been a year since we last talked.
Yeah, the last time we spoke, I believe it was right after we had released the Red EP, so it's good to see you again. But for those who don't know, my name is Sean. I sing for Ooh Blue. I also run a local booking company called Cobalt Company. And, you're kicking it.
So, we didn't talk for like a year now. So, and
I believe the last time I saw you was the Idola show, right?
I believe so. I'm trying to think when that was.
Yeah, that was like last February.
It was in February. That was with Capson and
Idola. My Sword and Shield was there. Yeah. Shouts out to those guys. Was Sylvan on the bill too?
Sylvan, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Sylvan
remember
was there too.
I missed him because I went to go interview Capson outside.
Yeah, shout out to Sylvan as well.
Yeah, make sure to go check out all the bands we mentioned. They're all amazing.
Support local music.
You guys have been pretty quiet for the past year. Is that because you guys been writing music mostly and trying to focus on that?
There was a multitude of things. We had a lineup change immediately after we released the Red EP. So Nick Jimenez is the newest. It's not new for us because he's been with us for almost a year now, but he's the newest addition to our dysfunctional family. And we have been writing a lot of music. We just released the song everybody just listened to, Gold Codes, and the response on that has been amazing. And, we've got a lot of things in the pipeline, but we haven't been too quiet. We've had some pretty cool shows recently.
You had that birthday show with Dineside
back
in summer.
Dineside, our good friends, they actually played our record release show for the Red EP. And we had them again for Connor and my birthday celebration. That was a great time. It had a great turnout. All the bands did amazing. Shout out to Karma Versa and Hold Fast Hope and Big Damn Octopus and Voices in Vain, who will be back on the island January 19th. And you can catch them with Senseless. And I'll have more details on that show in the next coming weeks. So definitely keeping busy.
You've been pretty busy as well, other than working with Ooh Blue. You've been running the company, Cobalt Company.
Yep.
Booking a whole bunch of local bands. So how about you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's been going very well. We've had a lot of pretty solid events from August till now. We've had Banded by Bears. We were Sharks. I Set to Kill. We had Dayshell. Dineside and Voices in Vain, of course. We had Goalkeeper, and they're coming back, actually, Friday, December 14th. If you're not doing anything, come catch Goalkeeper and Pointless on the Bad Times EP release tour with our locals Suburban Zombie before this summer, and the good homies in October Roses. And it'll be a nice beer pong party at Shakers, and everybody could come get twisted.
Well, what led you to starting this booking company?
There was a hole in the booking game. I don't need to go down that whole debacle, but I didn't trust anybody else to do right by myself and my friends anymore. So I figured that if that was the case, then the only responsible thing to do was make myself responsible and put myself in the mix. And, you know, there are other guys that do really great things. You know, Maxwell Peters with Planet of Soul Sounds does a great job. MSE, Muckrakers, we played Munoz Stock, and I was just at the Friendsgiving that they did. Those are great people, and, you know, the scene is in very good hands right now with, you know, the three of us, and I think everything will be just fine. I just felt that there was a little bit of a gap. I wanted to be able to get bands into AMH and Revolution and
keep that
energy
flow going and energy. That's been the growth of the scene in the past year or so. So again, with you guys kind of with writing, what are your plans for 2019?
Our plans for 2019, a lot of things are still up in the air right now, but I think I could talk about this. We're in the studio again. We've been just writing and writing and writing. I think we have more material written in 2018 than we had ever written as a band, like as a whole. Like we
is it a lot of completed stuff or just a lot of demos?
I guess completed is a strong word, because I don't think that anything is really completed up until we get the master back from Voodoo. Shouts outs to Mike Watts and the good folks over there, Frank Viteratona especially. He takes very good care of us. We write a lot instrumentally, and then my drummer James Ferrara and I go back and forth when we write vocals, and we'll have a lot of ideas vocally, and I think those ideas are usually up to change the most when we get into the studio, because Frank is always playing the devil's advocate, like, oh, this is really cool, what if you did this instead? And, you know, you take that into account, and, you know, either you run with the idea or you don't. And again, it's never really finished until you get that master back. So a lot of finished instrumentals, of course, and a lot of vocal ideas, more than we've ever had.
Have you done anything specifically to maybe improve or experiment with your voice?
I think since going to Voodoo, things have changed drastically. Before going into Voodoo, I don't think we demoed out vocals as diligently as we should have. I kind of just spitballed ideas with James, and then it was kind of, all right, well, here's what we got, here's what we're gonna do. And I think in the nicest way possible, it was a rude awakening for us when we went to Voodoo the first time to record Gold Codes, because it was like being thrown in the ringer with the amount of different approaches he was throwing at us, and you could do this instead, how do you feel about changing this? And like his input, Frank's meaning, drastically changed the way that I think about writing. I think it changes the way that James thinks about writing as well, and we diligently demo vocals now beforehand, before we even get there. So we already tried every possibility that we could possibly think of, and then if Frank has anything left to say about it, cool, but it's definitely not as much as it would have been before.
So I think that's like probably like one of the best things that going to a place like Voodoo to like record is just the amount of stuff you learn as a musician.
Definitely. We've been to great places, like when we recorded our first EP at the Mix Palace with Mike Bono. That was a great learning experience as well, but we definitely, I think their approach was to let us be as freeform as possible. If you look back at that first EP, it was very formless. Like there wasn't much structure to the music, and everything was very weird, for lack of a better term. And now I think we've all matured more. We understand where we want to go sonically, so everything isn't just a audio vomit. And we're bringing order to the mess that we create. All
right, so I want to pull out some stuff that happened recently.
Okay.
In like news, but today they announced Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees, and these included Def Leppard, Devo, Janet Jackson, John Prine, Kraftwerk, LL Cool J, MC5, Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Roxy Music, Stevie Nicks, The Cure, Todd Rundgren, Rufus, and Chaka Khan. And
Chaka Khan, that's cool.
Yeah. So out of these 15, I believe like 9 are making it. 9 are being voted in for the first nominees. I'm not sure like how many of the total are.
So are these like nominees to be
like,
voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or are these like people that are definitely going?
No,
in?
they're getting voted.
Interesting.
So
that's such a
15,
big mix of genres. Like,
so out of those 15 that I named, which stand out, and which do you think definitely need to make the Hall of Fame?
that's such a subjective thing. Where my music taste
doesn't fit into.
I think
Everyone
LL
else.
Cool J is a legend. I think that Janet Jackson has just as much pedigree as any other artist on that list. I think Chaka Khan is another legend of her genre. Rage Against the Machine, you can't... Come on. Everybody loves Rage. If you don't, I don't think I trust you.
Yeah.
So, those were the names that stuck out. I mean, mostly to me. I heard The Cure. They're another one that deserves to be in. I think all of those artists deserve that sort of recognition to be in any sort of music hall of fame. So,
Tough one.
yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know how you pick. I don't know how many of them are getting in and how many aren't.
I think the first round is 9 out of those 15.
So 9 out of the 15 get in, or 9 out of the 15 get booted?
See, the first round, 6 get booted. I know that,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's all up to fan voting.
And that's very interesting. You know, numbers don't always tell the truth. So, like, the amount of times that we've had like Facebook events for Cobalt Company shows, and they look like I'm sitting there with Brian Marcus from The War Within and Jalen Alvarez from Foxhurst and The War Within there, who I run Cobalt Company with, and I'm sitting to myself like, did we do enough? Because this doesn't look like it's gonna show out. And then, you know, we had L.I. Riftstock with Necropia and Lucid Dreams and The War Within and Soul Searcher and Warmind and Blissful Slaughter and Vile Tongue. And, you know, the Facebook event didn't really look like it was going to do much for us. And I'm sitting there and I'm having anxiety about like renting out the venue and if I did enough, if we did enough. And then the place, you can't even move. So, again, I don't know if Rage Against the Machine's fans are going to want to go online and vote for Rage Against the Machine to be in an organized Hall of Fame when they seem... Rage Against the Machine is probably the band that's like, you know, stick it to the Hall of Fame. We're rebels of the genre. I don't care about sitting in there, so it's all subjective.
Another kind of recent news story, per se, is the whole Fredden situation. I talked about it on my last show.
Explain?
With Finn McKenty from the punk rock NBA. But this guy from California, he created this band, and he kind of created a fake promo. Then he set up that whole fake European
we were laughing
tour.
about this. I think Connor had sent it to the group. His name is slipping me. I don't even want to plug whatever his name is, but it was so fun. He's got like these clearly like poorly edited videos of like these huge crowds listening to his music, and it's so fun. He's like orchestrating like this tour, and he's got these crazy prices and packages that he's getting in advance for these concerts.
They got 180 pre-sale tickets.
And then there's nobody's coming out. These places are empty, and it's an awful thing to do. But I think that situation is hilarious. Just how easily swayed people can be just by an image on social media. That's playing with fire on his part, because you shot yourself in the foot.
pretty much his career is over now. But
I don't know if
like,
he had a career to begin with,
to be fair,
yeah. So, wow, you just reminded me about that. I think it's hilarious. It goes back to another problem. People buy followers and buy Spotify listeners and stuff like that. And, we were joking about, numbers that we were seeing from, like, certain people's, like, oh, here's the amount of people that streams that we got on Spotify this year. Here's the amount of fans that listen to us. And, if that really is your numbers, great. Keep doing what you're doing. Proud of you. I don't want anything other than success for everybody that does what we do. It's one of those thankless crafts where people don't understand the amount of work that you put into being good at what you do, or the amount of money that it really takes to get a good sounding record. So if you really do have those numbers, or if you really do have that smart marketing behind you, you keep doing what you're doing. I am proud of you. If you bought those numbers, I think you need to reevaluate what you're doing and how you're going about doing this, because those live show numbers will reflect exactly the amount of effort that you've been putting into.
So a recent thing that also came out today was Census Fail kind of removing some of their older lyrics from their songs. I'm not sure if they're like re-recording it.
Yeah, I read about that. They were taking certain words that I don't think I'm allowed to say on here.
No,
I'm not gonna. I'm being a good boy. Everybody knows I'm a potty mouth. I read about that. It could go either way, really. I'm personally against the idea of censoring any sort of form of art.
Yeah.
So I don't personally think that. Don't compromise yourself. If that's what it was at the time that you had written it.
Expect from them for being such a politically kind of outright band.
I mean, to be fair, I also haven't listened to Census Fail since I was maybe 15 or 16. I'm 24 now, so it's easy to forget some of the things that were said. Look at the debacle with the It's Cold Outside, Baby It's Cold Outside.
Oh, yeah.
You look at that and you think about it in the context of when it was written, it was probably nothing out of the ordinary. But you think about it in the 2018 context, you look at those lyrics and it's really cringy. Like, what's in that drink? I don't want to know what's in that drink. Honey, you better call an Uber. But, I don't know. The album, if you're that concerned with the lyrical content, maybe it's not even the best idea to go back and re-record it. You might just want to say that it is what it is. That is what we made at the time, and if you want to hear those songs played live, and that's the updated version that you get, go buy a ticket.
So another story which you probably saw, and it was pretty funny. It was the whole Bad Omen situation with the them dropping off of the tour with the Enemy Affliction and Census Fail.
It was because of their spot in the lineup,
supposedly
like they didn't want to open the show. Apparently? According
to the Enemy Affliction and Census Fail, it was because of the font size on the tour poster.
Oh, the font size on the. On the tour bus or on the
tour
flyer?
Poster.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, everybody's got an ego, right? It depends on what makes you tick, but the font size? You couldn't just be like, hey, could you make that a little bit bigger for us? Is that difficult?
Supposedly, they would make it bigger or just some background information on that they weren't fulfilling their contracts for them, which is... that kind of brings into the idea of kind of like respect with the older bands and the newer bands.
I mean, there's three sides to every story. I don't think we'll know what really happened. We only get the side of it that's presented to us. So, as for that, if it really was just the font size on the flyer, then okay, a weird flex, but
go for it.
Yeah, if that's really that important to you, I guess stand your ground. But yeah, I think you missed out on some money that could have been made. I think you missed out on a good opportunity to tour with some good young bands. So who knows?
So we kind of did this last year. We did your favorite releases of 2017. So how about you share your favorite releases of this year?
My favorite releases of this year. You know how terrible of a question that is for me, because I really don't. It's awful because I make music. I listen to so many like weird throwbacks, like my YouTube playlist for like music. It's like weird like 70s R&B and stuff like that. I thought Artificial Selection was a good album by
Dance
DGD.
Gavin.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Earl Sweatshirt just released some rap songs. I thought that was one of the most interesting records that I've listened to, period. On a local level, Karma vs. Miriam EP, I play that a lot. I really, really enjoy that EP. I enjoy those people. Those are some of my favorite people. But that EP, if you haven't listened to Miriam by Karma Versa, you make sure you go do that, because it is phenomenal. The split EP with Crash the Calm and Staleworth, I think that's another great piece of local art that people need to go check out.
Hey, if you missed the interview that I did with both of the bands, actually, we did a joint interview. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Spectrum Show. We did a whole, I think it was like 20 or so minutes, and me and Crash the Calm and Staleworth talked about that whole split EP.
Yeah, great work. Off top, I can't really think of a lot. It's awful. I know Hail the Sun released an album this year that was received very well. I listened to the singles off of it. Very good stuff.
So let's talk about your music now. We played your newest single before called Gold Code. So tell us a bit about making the music video and the backstory behind the song.
It's okay. I guess backstory behind the song. You could think of it as like off the first EP, we had the song called Cobalt and the Boys. Think of it as kind of the follow-up to that. It's a story that has been told so many times that I poke fun at it. Everybody has a falling out with somebody at some point or another, and everybody mouths off about it. But again, there's 3 sides to every story, so mine might not be the correct version of the series of events. So it's just one take on it. But I'll keep regurgitating because that's what I do.
What I really liked about it was the artwork for it. It was just like really, I want to say obscure per se, but it was just
strange.
It's strange.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of these. I don't know how to describe it, but
well, Gold Codes in a literal sense, not the song title. It's supposed to be I believe when we dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the codes for the bombs to go off, I believe they are called Gold Codes. I believe that's the reason why Dan had suggested the name. It sounds cool. And in context of the artwork, the heads of these like figures that are sitting in front of this red sky, the heads of these giants are mushroom clouds. So we thought that that tied in pretty well with it.
So, we're about to play another new single of yours called Johnny Walker Never Runs.
Yes.
How about you give a little details on the making of that song and some details about it?
Gold Codes and Johnny Walker both were written at pretty much the same time. And those songs were written, I would say, a week after we released Red. Like, we had just... for whatever reason, as soon as we dropped that, we
make more.
Right? Yeah, we were just like, right, new music now, Nick. You're not getting any sort of preparations, crash course. Get in here. And Nick has an amazing solo in the beginning of Johnny Walker, so kudos to him. Instrumentally, it kind of just all formed together the way that we write everything else. Somebody comes through with an idea, and we jam it out until the song's finished. Me and James probably rewrote the vocals on that song like 3 or 4 times until we got to the final product. That was one of the most annoying processes for me. But at the same time, I think I'm more proud of how we wrote Johnny Walker than anything else that we've released thus far, because a lot of the timing on that song is very complicated, and we found a way to kind of fool ourselves really into keeping a steady head bob with the rhythm because of how we placed the vocals on certain beats and accents and stuff like that. It's what I wanted to do with some of the stuff on Red and some of the stuff on Vashuda, and I kind of finally found that sweet spot. Yeah.
So, where can people keep up to date with you and find your music?
Oof. Well, you can keep up to date with me on my personal Instagram mostly, Cobalt the Boy. That is C0BALT the Boy. And then for all of upcoming Cobalt Company events, it is Cobalt.Company.NY on Instagram. And for Blue, that is Blue Band on everything. But Instagram is definitely the best spot that you could find us. That is the letter U, Blue Band.
With the accent.
Not on our socials, though.
No.
It's way easier to find us without putting a umlaut there. So that is the letter U, Blue Band on everything.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for the rest of the show. And this is the new song from Blue called Johnny Walker Never Runs.
Thank you so much.